Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is DJ Wentworth of the Dynasty Wrestling franchise, and welcome to CAW Review. I came up with the idea of doing this show after looking at CAW all the time and how poorly they do their reviews. I at one time wanted to be reviewed by them, but then I've decided that no, I don't want to get reviewed by those guys after all. Not that they're doing a bad job, it's just I personally don't want to force them into reviewing my show. You know. So, this call review show, this being the first show, I'm going to review shows every 2 weeks. I'm going to come up with a show, and I'm going to review shows from, of course, the Dynasty Wrestling franchise, URWL, SMF, SCAW, ECW, Extreme Call Wrestling, DWA, RCW, OFW, UWO, XWE, and XWA West Coast. So, without further ado here, let's start off this call review, and this is part 1 of the call review this week, and it's for URWL episode 8. I'm going to review the latest episodes from each show that I've just mentioned. So, yeah. URWL episode 8 is the night before Popular Demand, and they're in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Of course, you know, URWL is not probably, but definitely the best show on the internet, with great editing effects and everything. Plus, now that they're not on YouTube, and I watched the show on Google, and it was just like watching a real show, like watching WWE. It had commercials, had the Don't Try This at Home, had the experience URWL live, which I freaking loved. So, anyway, it started off with Jamie Emo, who was billed to not be at the event, and he was talking about how he was home taking care of family situations, and it was a really good build for his match with Seth Stern at for Popular Demand, which, by the way, I cannot wait because it's going to be a great card. And if you guys don't know the card, I suggest you go to URWL rant board and check it out, and check out the card there. But so far, just the build between Seth Stern and Jamie Emo over the URWL title has just been great. It was a good start. It was good to trick the fans into thinking Emo would not be at Minneapolis. I, for one, thought otherwise, and, well, I'll mention later what happened. The opening contest was Great White North versus Scorpera. It was classic back and forth tag team match, very well done by Gold Dash, I must say, with Great White North getting the win. And it was great seeing the tension build even more between Scorpion and Cobra, and I know that eventually there should be a match somewhere down the line with Scorpion and Cobra going at it. Also, the women's title was on the line on this episode. Cecilia Rincon. I probably said the last name fucking wrong, and if I did, I'm very sorry. She challenged Jessie Slash, and it looked like for the longest time that Cecilia was going to win the women's championship, but then out of freaking nowhere, Slash just goes crazy and gets like really hardcore because the referee was down and out, and starts just brutalizing Cecilia, and then the DDT through the table, that was just nasty. And then the countout victory, it was cheap. I guess they're trying to build Slash into being more of a heel than ever, because like, I know there's a lot of Jessie Slash fans, and I guess you're trying to get people to not like Jessie Slash. I liked it. And then the next matchup was Fusion versus Salvatore. That was a really nice match. However, I can't help but to feel like the wrong person won. I feel like Salvatore's already had his time, you know. Besides, he looks like a freaking Italian Vince McMahon. Fusion is actually one of my favorite characters in the URWL, and he had a really good showing in this match, and but it just wasn't the case. Salvatore getting the win. also proving how good of a heel he is. And sometimes I forget how good of a heel Salvatore is. But if you just watch that match and just the taking out the ref, just everything he did just makes you hate him, you know, and that's a sign of a good heel. Next matchup was Trent Tail versus the Commander, and this was Commander's first time on a URWL regular show instead of a click per view. From what I gathered from the video, Commander completely over with the fans. I would like to say that I would like to see the Commander personally. I'd like to see Commander win URWL World Title as a face in sometime in the near future. That's just me. I don't know, but his match against Trent Tail, which by the way I think Trent Tail is actually one of the more underrated CAWs in URWL. But the crowd was just completely behind Commander. It was a great showing for Commander going into his matchup against Kulishar at Popular Demand. And what a run-in by Kulishar. That was just sick. Okay, like, not sick as in like terrible, but sick as in like that was just an awesome run-in. And just builds up a lot more heat for that match at Popular Demand. And then the hardcore title, Akina he faced Wes Tamerka, and then Blood came out of nowhere as the special enforcer. And the match really felt like a handicap match, and I guess that was the point. That was what they were going for. It didn't surprise me, and it was pretty much a handicap match. And Akina just somehow just beasts Tamerka and gets himself out of the sticky situation and remains undefeated, retains his hardcore title. Akina's a badass. That's all I can say. Akina's a badass. Next up was number one contenders match for the winning team would go to Popular Demand to get a shot at the tag team titles. You had the Experts of Execution versus Myrtle and Hog. I was rooting for Myrtle and Hog, but however, EOE, they won. They won, and they're finally getting noticed. They're finally getting wins, and they're finally going to get a shot at Popular Demand. And I feel like with the showing that they had against Myrtle and Hog, EOE should win the titles at Popular Demand. And then the main event. Now, all night, they've been promoting this main event. Taurus was, because of the URWL rulebook, Taurus had to be punished for running in and attacking Cordero at a previous event. For some reason, I cannot remember what the name of the event was. I apologize. Wow. But it was a recent event, and Taurus ran in through the crowd and attacked Cordero, cost Cordero a match. And it was a 1-on-3 matchup. Taurus versus Victor Cordero, Interrogative, and Seth Stern. Okay, if you're a smart person, you'd obviously realize that this matchup was not going to end clean. Okay, first off, Barry White runs in and takes out Interrogative, and then Seth Stern's opponent for Popular Demand, Jamie Emo, the URWL champion, arrives in Minnesota. Surprise, surprise. I kind of saw that coming. I don't know if anyone else saw that coming. It was predictable, Emo's run-in, but it was really good and really built up so much heat for that encounter with Seth Stern that the whole CAW wrestling world is just waiting for right now for when Popular Demand gets up. It was a great ending. Taurus ended up one-on-one with Cordero and got the win, and I just can't wait for Popular Demand. So if I was to rate URWL episode 8 on a 10-point system, I would like to rate it a 9.75 out of 10 because Jamie Emo was predictable to run in, and it kind of ruined the ending for me a little bit. However, the rest of the show was flawless, so great job by URWL. The next review will be Smack It Down episode 12 by SMF. We'll be back.